Hello, Fun Nation. My name is James, checking in here with Team 1918, the NC Gears, here at the First in Michigan, West Michigan District event. A classic staple West Michigan team here. Incredible robot here for rebuild. Really unique floor mechanism that pulls in fuel so well. Wide shooter, so much to learn here from the NC Gears. Here with us to learn more, we have Simon, Joe, Noah, Corey, and Noah. Let's find out more on Behind the Bumpers. All right, Simon, you want to get us started? Let's talk about the fuel path of your robot. Talk about some of the iterations.
Of course. So at the beginning of the season, we decided that we wanted to do three main things really well. We wanted to be able to intake balls very quickly. We wanted to be able to hold a lot of balls, and we wanted to be able to shoot those balls very quickly. It all starts here at our intake path, where we have a double bar roller powered by a Kraken 44. We have this interesting mechanical piece here called the shoe. This is what keeps compression with our balls as they come through our intake. Noah, if you want to enable and turn on the intake. Our intake works by our 3-inch compression wheels will force the ball against the shoe and then lift it up. And then our second roller kind of kicks the ball with these star wheels to make sure it's always in motion. And then as we exit that intake, we have this, which is the tongue, we call it, because every shoe has a tongue. As the ball comes through the intake path, the tongue will flip out and not allow any balls to go back through the intake. As we move along, we've got our live bottom mechanism here, which has two parts, the part attached to the frame and the part attached to the shoe. The part attached to the frame lifts up to allow us access to all of our electrical components. So we have easy access to all this, and we can keep it flat with the belly pan. As the ball comes across these gears on both of these, it keeps it from having a position where it'll become stagnant. So they're always moving and always allowing the balls to have some sort of a way to get towards the shooter. These are printed TPU wheels, and they're in a helical shape, and that's to force balls towards the center of our shooter path and allow them to come out straight as we enter our shooter. We do a similar sort of thing over here. These are what we call our matrix breakers, and they break up any formations of balls that are sticking in our hopper. And these rotate upwards to pull balls away from the shooter if they try to jam. And they have an opposite pattern as these ones down here to kind of create somewhat of a circular motion as we move through the ball path. Joe's going to talk a little bit about our shooter.
Okay, so as the ball comes through our shooter here, these wheels spin very rapidly, and then we have our back wheels here to kill all the momentum while we use our shooter wheels here to spit it out, creating a knuckleball and a floating method to go right into our hub.
Before we get to our next segment, we'd like to thank the following. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs and their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first. It isn't too late to order competition apparel for your team at FRC Tees. Founded by First alumni and offering a free 14-day turnaround with expedited options available, go to frctees.com to see why hundreds of teams are making FRC Tees their first choice for their apparel needs. That's frctees.com.
So, Joe, can you talk to me a little bit more about maybe some of the iterations that you went through with your shooter here? Pretty effective design, it seems like, on the field. Would love to learn more, maybe some of the prototyping you did there, too.
At the beginning, we weren't fully on the flood. We were all like just deciding, oh wait, should we do a turret, a flood? And then we're like, we need to get balls out insanely quick. So let's just have the shooter be our whole robot. So we decided to go throughout the whole robot to get maximum output. So we do about like 10 balls a second, throughout 4 balls out wide. And then we originally had different wheels. So originally when we tested as a team, we built it out of plywood, and we're just like, let's just test this, and we're just shooting it out. Worked out nice, so we decided to CAD it up and then build it out of nice metal. Obviously, our hex bars go all the way across the frame for strength, because obviously we're going to take some hits. So we decided to have some strength there so we wouldn't break. And then we will, once we funnel all the balls and the matrices break them all up, it'll shoot out rapidly with the knuckleball, as I already said, and then have a nice easy shot. And then we can change our shot with our velocity based off how far we want to go.
I've noticed that in matches. It seems to be a pretty effective strategy. Now, I'd like to pass it back to Simon here a second. Simon, can you tell me a little bit more about this floor mechanism?
For sure.
Very unique. I haven't seen this in other
Yeah.
robots.
So-
Talk to me about how you guys developed this.
So originally, we started with this piece here. This is our original live bottom in our frame. And like I said, we can pull it up to get to all these juicy electronics. As we're iterating on this, originally we didn't have these helical wheels. We had just full rows of these gears. But as we moved on through the season, balls would like to sit on this shelf. We would get 4 balls along this row here, and we realized we wanted to pull balls more towards the center. And that's how we developed these helical shapes here. In our second part of our live bottom, we wanted to space out our gears a little bit more and create a little bit less motion, but just enough so that they don't become stagnant. And so that's how I developed these larger gears. And then on the sides, you'll notice we have sort of one-tooth gears. These were originally full gears, but the reason we decided to switch from full gears to one-tooth gears was because it wasn't giving the ball enough time to move off of this shelf and into the shooter path.
Interesting and very fitting for an NC Gears team to use this many gears, right?
Oh yes,
I
we
love
have
it.
all the gears.
Really cool to see all that prototyping. I'd like to pass it over now to Noah to talk a little bit more about your custom swerve drive. Let's talk through some of that design that you guys have here.
So we're on our 8th iteration of this custom swerve drive. We've been working on this for a while. We wanted something that was more compact so it could fit into the frame and be out of the way easily while still providing a good amount of speed and torque. So we're geared for 18 feet a second right now. And we partner with Ferris CNC. They have a 3-axis CNC for our swerve saddles here. So they help CNC these swerve saddles that hold it up here. And then me and Corey we worked on this swerve plate at our career tech class and programmed and CNC'd out the swerve plate here. And we've just been designing a whole bunch since. It's run by Kraken's 44, turn and drive. And it's really fast and really compact and lightweight for what we need it to do. It fits in our frame pretty nicely. It's wherever we really need it to be. We can move it around and it's just out of the way.
It definitely out of the way is a great way to put it, right? You save a lot of space in your robot the way you do it. And it's been cool to see it year over year. Like you said, the 8th iteration. Really impressive to see the gears continue to work on that. I'd like to pass it back to Simon now. Once again, talk a little bit more about the programming that you guys do. Really effective auton routines. Let's hear a little bit more about that.
So start off with our auton and our tracking. What we do for that is we have 2 cameras and we use photon vision. So we have 1 camera here mounted on the side of our shooter. And as Joe was talking about, we have plenty of bars going across this shooter. So this camera is in a fixed location and does not move around anywhere. And then on the other side, we have a camera positioned towards the rear of the robot. And this camera faces back at any April tags we might want to see and is also mounted to the shooter in a structurally sound location. These cameras help us seed our odometry with our swerve drive and create a fluid understanding of where the robot is on the field. And from that, we can develop tracking that we use in match, which helps us decide where to angle our shooter and our robot and how fast to shoot. And then additionally, we wanted a good auton. We thought about the game and we knew that auton was very important and crucial to winning the match. And so we needed to have at least 2 cycles in auton. And so we wanted to start under the trench because if you start under the trench, you can reach that pile of balls quicker. So when we are designing our hopper, when it comes up, we have about a 10-degree angle here and this sticks up. And so we decided to trim the edges of our hopper and sit this end of our hopper in front of the trench so we can start directly under it. That allows us to get to those balls quickly and do a 2-cycle auton, which scores us a good amount of points.
That's exactly the type of strategic thinking that makes you guys so great. Really impressive robot this year, NC Gears. Excited to continue cheering for you guys. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us today. And thank you all so much for watching. My name is James for the Fun Robotics Network, signing off.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. It isn't too late to order competition apparel for your team at FRC Tees. Founded by FIRST alumni and offering a free 14-day turnaround with expedited options available, go to frctees.com to see why hundreds of teams are making FRC Tees their first choice for their apparel needs. That's frctees.com. Kettering University's cutting-edge programs and their experiential co-op model seamlessly blend the professional and academic worlds, offering hands-on, future-focused learning that empowers students to pursue new ideas and inspires other institutions to follow their lead. Don't just be ahead of the curve, create the curve. Get more information at kettering.edu/first.